40 years ago or so, a gentleman here in California saw a need in the black community with our youth, and he decided that he was going to get all the black student unions together. Not just here in Sacramento, not just in Northern California, but throughout the state of California. I'd like to give it up for Mr. Frank Withrow. He can say a few words too.
Check it. Look, Martin had a dream. Malcolm X wanted people to stand what you live for. Every man's equal. Alabama, Rosa Parks said enough.
And she saw a need, and she started it, and it was over 40 years ago. She had one conference in Stockton, and we all went and we visited. It was a nice conference. It was a one-day conference. So a group of us got together, and then we did it as a two-day conference. And then we got a hotel and expanded. And at one point we had 1,500 young people coming to the conference. And then we found out that was too big for us to control. So we made the conference smaller and we started having regionals. And so now we're 3 regions, North, Central, and South, Southern. And the regions have regional conferences, we have state conferences, we have local conferences. I know this year your conference is Achievements in My DNA. So I just want you to repeat after me. It doesn't matter what others say. It doesn't matter what others say. Achievements in my DNA. Achievements in my DNA. My ancestors showed me the way. My ancestors showed me the way. Achievements in my DNA.
So I keep my head up with my fist clenched tight. Had an oath to myself, whether it rain or it's light. Spit truth like Sojourner, make the name. But other people that I name never did it for fame.
Look, say what you say, but don't say it to me. Greatness is what I'm destined.
Educators, the one and only Miss Deborah Rockin.
Woo, y'all don't know, this has been a long time coming. It has taken a boatload of work. The California Alliance of African American Educators is very, very proud to be a co-sponsor.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty.
Never has there been a weapon more powerful than the likes of the human mind, the power of an idea. We are told to remember the idea, not the man, because a man can fail. He can be caught, he can be killed and forgotten, but 400 years later, an idea can still change the world. I've witnessed firsthand the power of ideas. I've seen people kill in the name of them and die defending them. But you cannot kiss an idea, cannot touch it, cannot hold it, cannot cut it. Ideas do not bleed, they do not feel pain, they do not love. Everywhere you go, black students are the highest need students. So if we have a law that is excluding them from their basic right to education, we need to do something to change that. Race has been one of the most divisive subjects in American history. Now, people are concerned in light of Ferguson, in light to what happened to Eric Gardner and all these issues. But race is an issue of omission. It is what creeps into your mind in your offices. It is what is present in your schools, but you can't touch it, you can't feel it. It is ethereal. It exists at a level that the human mind has a trouble understanding. Mentioning race is difficult. Politically, it's not something that you should do. Even today, African Americans, have difficulty. Are we African American? Are we Negro? And sometimes it's difficult to find pride in who you are. It's always been my message as the state president of the UBSUC to have pride. That was my campaign. I ran I am black and I'm geeky and I'm proud. And so we need to show black pride because that's the spirit that got us.
So if I leave anything with you today is to make sure that when you finish high school, you go to college, you get education and training. If you don't get that additional 1-year, 2-year, 4-year degree, your life will be very different. You won't have the opportunities that you can have with an education. So I want to encourage you to do that. Wish you lots of luck. This place is your capital. Thank you and have a great day, and I look forward to working with you and seeing you when you're in college.
Still stand, hearts of a warrior, from the jungle, real men, king, queens, pyramid, we gotta stay militant. Waiting for our 40 acres and a mule, hustling hard to get full, but I still get discriminated. We living in the days of rain, from being shackled to chains, to working twice as hard to get elevated. Cause what Martin and Malcolm did for us in this outcome, gotta take advantage as long as they name standing.
Like, cause if you learn your past and where you've been, you can learn how far you can go from there. And so, students in this class, they've done amazing things. Kids who went from ditching, never going to class ever, just standing in the bathroom, smoking weed. They now care about their classes. They care about their grades. They respect their teachers.
If they don't have that extra help, they feel like they can't do it, and they'll drop out of classes or they'll drop out of school altogether. And I feel like we need more classes like Project Word that give us like the ability to be more organized and teach us how to study. And it lets us know that there are people who care about us. And so if we have after school or during school tutoring, the statistics that you were
talking about action. If you want to know action, if you want to write something down, here are 3 things that you might write down. I call it prophetic vision. Prophetic vision is, there's a scripture in the Bible that says, you call those things that be not as though they are, right? And what that means is basically, I don't see it. It's a developer. You guys know what a developer is? Real estate developer? A developer, he or she sees land and says, wow, I see a supermarket. I see a mall. And the reason, the benefit or the value of that person is that they see things that none of us can see. They say, oh, I'm looking at the freeway, I can build a freeway, and I can see that it brings these communities together, and voila. So they have that vision, that ability to see things before they're built.
To rehabilitate society, and I'ma speak the truth till they try to be a leader.
What was going on our campus? I believe, was it 3/4 of our African American students failed their math courses? There's no reason that there should be so many math teachers on that campus, however, with those kind of scores. So what we did is that we reached out to our districts. We drafted a letter to our superintendent in order to discuss LCFF, because we noticed that their districts are getting new money, right? And it was designed to diminish the academic achievement gap. However, the money was not going towards that. So we saw the issues on our campus. We saw an opportunity, so we took it. We reached out to our superintendent. We talked to them about the factors of the academic achievement gap, the lack of resources. Teachers tend to automatically assume that you have a quiet place to study. You have the things you need in order to be successful. And the truth is not every student has that. And the lack of cultural competency, and that basically means that teachers need to have the basic understanding of the students they are teaching in order to teach them effectively. If you have no idea how a student learns, what a student's home life is like, how are you possibly supposed to teach them like every other student? And we have this thing where it's equality versus equity. You can give everyone the same exact thing, right? However, there are those people who need extra. Like before, there's this example, say someone has $5 and they're poor on the street, homeless, and there's someone who's rich. You give them each $20. Is that fair? Or would you just give the homeless person $40? That is equity versus equality. So part of what we did our district, we brought up solutions, and part of that was bringing more Black teachers onto our campus, because if you're able to see yourself in a position of education, it's more likely that, okay, maybe I can be there too, and it's easier for someone who looks like you, and it just motivates the students to do better. Last year, we had no Black teachers. This year at Laguna Creek High School, we have 4.
And that this generation is really laying the foundation for the future. While they were talking about fixing it, I had to raise the issue that we have to do something with our K-12 system. We have to do something to help our students, particularly African American and Latino students, to be successful in school. And so I'm raising this issue that we have to do a better job. Yes. We have to be more accountable. We have to look at this population and say, this is our future, and what are we doing? My position is we're failing you. We have not done what we need to do to hold everyone accountable for the billions and billions of dollars we spend on education, and then end up results where our kids are still behind, not able to pass the high school exit exam, and it goes on.
But I just want to talk about something just slightly different, and that's advocacy. Today, you guys are going to be advocates, and you need to speak your mind, speak confident, and speak clearly. There's one thing, that's what I do as a profession, is I'm a professional advocate. It's a strange thing, I'm a lobbyist. But what's really important, and what I tell all of my members, is that if you stand on the sidelines and don't have a voice, then things will be done to you.
Speak up, and we can all help each other, but we can't do anything if we don't speak up and we don't say anything. So to take action, we have to speak up, and we have to be together and make sure that we are just one. Just not so like separated from each other. Like just because your homie or your friend or something isn't in there, bring them with you, or just make new people, make new friends, so that we can be in this together.
It's okay to hear statistics and to have people tell you things, but when you see it within, like, this is I would say a substantially large group of people, but then if you just think like on a larger scale, say the whole state of California or the whole of America, then the numbers, if you just think about that, like taking what we just did here and bringing that to the larger standpoint, it's just, you can see it now.
So, would anyone like to indicate why they think that there was this disparity, why so many people in this room stood up when they had to talk about how one of their friends, or family member, or someone they knew dropped out of high school?
I feel like it has a lot to do with how kids, or not saying kids, well, young adults here, young adults are being raised necessarily. I mean, it all does come from like the product of your environment. That does have a role in that, but it all comes from, you know, who you're raised by.
Activists here consider themselves as activists.
What makes you an activist? What makes you an activist?
I believe an activist is a leader, someone who's not afraid to hear rejection of their ideas, and they will not stop until their demands are met.
Right. In all the meetings that they had to close the achievement gap, you know, there were rarely any black people, you know, at the tables, right? And so there is some responsibility there. It's being proactive rather than reactive.
So the difference between being proactive and reactive is being reactive is something happens. So say I punch Amari in the face, he punches me back. That's a reactive situation. But say Amari knows that he's been antagonizing me and he knows I'm getting angry.
So I walk away.
And so that's the difference between being proactive and reactive. And I think that a common problem that we see, like the point the young lady made back there, is that we need to get up off our butts. Like, anybody can complain. Anyone has the power to say, oh yeah, I see a lot of issues, you know, in the black community. We should change that. But then who's going out there and actually bringing this to fruition? Like, everybody in this room needs to like be standing up. We need to get up and we need to do something about it. That's the difference between being proactive and reactive. And so that's what we're here to talk about today.
Our phones or our tablets or whatever, and so one of the biggest things you can use is social media. That's right. That's like our biggest networking. We're always doing it, always on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. So that would be our biggest thing.
If you can tweak your button or something doing like this, then you can tweak that. You need to get your education. If you can tweak the latest R&B, rap song, then you can tweak that. If you can tweak Black Lives Matter, then you can tweet that our lives matter, I matter, and my education matters. So that's what I want to see from all of you guys.
Okay, with that, my is your life, my life. Why Black life? Because at the very minimum, black people are being persecuted in the United States beyond anybody's imagination, and we know it. And guess what? Other people in the world know it.
Yes.
When are we gonna know it?
Yes.
And when you ask them, well, why don't we talk about everybody's life? They say until black lives are free in this country, we can't be free. It is my duty to fight. It is my duty to fight. It is our duty to win. It is our duty to win. We must love each other. We must love each other. We have nothing to lose. We have nothing to lose. But our change.
Stand up and say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. If you're doing what you gotta do, please stand up. You got some growing to do, then please man up. Yep. If you black and you proud, can you do me a favor and stand up and say it loud? If you're doing what you gotta do, please stand up. You got some growing to do, then please man up. Yep. If you black and you proud, can you do me a favor and stand up and say it loud?
It's all facts of life. My people live in the ruckus, pissing in buckets.